G'day, I'm Brady and welcome to Brady's Breakdown on Touch It. Make sure you like and subscribe to this guy right here. Thanks a lot. I'm going to give you what I think are the top 5 reasons against changing Australia Day. Reason 1, we can't just change the dates in history to suit ourselves. Yes we can. We don't even celebrate the Queen's birthday on the right day. Liz is born on the 21st of April, and this year Queensland is celebrating it on the 2nd of October. In New South Wales, South Australia and Canberra, it's the 11th of June, Victoria the 12th of June, and Western Australia the 1st of October. So by the logic of, we gotta keep everything accurate, Queen Elizabeth is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Libra. I struggle to remember my girlfriend's one birthday. Look, I know the dude's already got a lot, but Prince Philip deserves another fucking medal for remembering all that shit. Reason 2, Captain Cook discovered Australia, and that needs to be remembered. Now I know Australia Day is pretty separate from what James Cook did, but when I was researching this video, James Cook was coming up again and again. So let me just try to put this issue to rest. First off, if you go to the Australian Maritime Museum in Sydney, you'll learn very flippin' quickly that Captain Cook wasn't the first one here at all. William Jezoon, by all accounts, was the first one in 1606, and from there it was Louis van der Torres in 1606, Dirk Hartog in 1616, Frederick D. Hortman in 1619, Abel Tasman in 1644, William D. Vlaming in 1696, William Dampier in 1699, then finally our boy Jimmy Cook in 1770. We're celebrating the bloke who come 8th. Let's not forget that it wasn't even discovered because the Aboriginal Australians were already here. So 9th, we're celebrating the flippin' 9th bloke. That's the guy we have statues of. That's like getting rid of Neil Armstrong's quote, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, and going with 9th astronaut on the moon, John Watts Young, who said, I don't know what he said. No one knows what he said. That's kind of the point when you come 9th. James Cook is a participation ribbon at best. Reason 3, we have to honour our history. Why don't we have a look back at exactly what the First Fleet was? In England, the government was going through a process of social cleansing. Lots of manufacturing jobs were lost and unemployment was at an all-time high. So the English government passed a series of laws that allowed their citizens to be deported to Australia from 7 years to life for relatively minor crimes. Oh, so you're starving and stole bacon rinds. Enjoy 9 months of seasickness, blistering sun, scurvy, physical punishment, and then as a reward you get more physical punishment, daily hard labour, and if after 20 years you don't die, enjoy a quarter-acre lot at Warhope. There's no running water, fuck loads of funnel webs, have a great life. Do you think if you could travel back in time and talk to any of these people, they'd be keen on celebrating the 26th? Fucking no. Reason 4, the Indigenous population should just accept Australia Day as a celebration for all Australians. The best estimates are that Australian Aboriginals have been in this country for over 60,000 years. Europeans started colonising Australia in the late 18th century. Since then, 90% of the Indigenous population has been wiped out. Just let that sink in for a second. 90%. And even in Tasmania, there's no Indigenous population. Settlers formed a line and over a several-month period walked across that island and murdered every single Indigenous Australian on it. To put this in perspective, let's distill down 60,000 years into a 24-hour period. Instead of Australia, we change it to an Australian Day party. So for 23 hours and 56 minutes, it's a great bloody house party. Few snags, couple of beers, everyone is having a great time. All of a sudden, at 4 to midnight, a bunch of uninvited guests show up. At the beginning, they're not acting like complete douches. Then they murder 90% of the people at the party. Then they enslave the other guests. And then at 2 to midnight, they let the other guests go and say, yeah, we're not really into that anymore. Then at 90 seconds to midnight, they kind of say sorry. They start drinking and having a great time. And then at 1 to midnight, they look around and get upset because you're not enjoying Australia Day. Guys, we're trying to have a bloody party here and you're sort of ruining the mood. How about you have a bloody beer and enjoy bloody Australia Day, mate? Reason 5. It all happened a long time ago. The Indigenous Australians should just move on. What do you mean move on? The effects are still happening. The gap still exists. On average, the Aboriginal population live 9.5 years less. Unemployment is 3 times higher, educational outcomes are worse, imprisonment rates are higher, and the list goes on. How can you say to get over something, or even something happened a long time ago, when the effects are still fucking happening today? It may have been your blood relatives that did this to the Indigenous population, and even if it wasn't, there's still a good chance you're still getting all the benefits from the awful shit that they did, and the Aboriginal population doesn't. That's the problem. It's like if your granddad stole a car, right? Passed it down generation to generation. You got a sweet ride and the people that should have owned that car have been freaking walking everywhere. They got a bad knee, a gammy back and covered in bindies. You offering to give them a ride occasionally doesn't quite cut it. Australia Day is a symbol, and you know what? It's fine to feel pride. It's fine to be proud of your country. But just try to think how this day feels to Indigenous Australians. If you feel pride, just think to yourself what emotions they might be feeling. So how about we be good mates, working hard to make stuff better, fairer, and a lot happier. So how about we try to find a date we can all appreciate together? You know what? It's really worth a discussion.